First and foremost, I want to give all of the praises and glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakah Gradash, and double honor to the elder apostles of the great millstone that have taught us this truth, and to include the elder bishops on down, and Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Barakatham, to you brothers out there, as we ought to believe that we're of the hopeful elect. And it's your brother Laban. And I just want to show you some things in reading this article to you. Once again, concerning the topic that we usually go into, which is the mark of the beast, prophecy, which is there and there to us. In this case, in the form of the digital ID setting that Esau is formulating right now. And eventually, as this reads, Americans will be forced against their will to surrender to biometric data or lose their bank accounts. As this reads, Trump executive order will force Americans to surrender biometric data or lose their bank accounts. The Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has confirmed that a Trump administration executive order requiring U.S. banks to verify citizenship for every customer, new and existing, is actively in process. The policy means millions of Americans will have no choice but to obtain and present a U.S. passport containing embedded biometric facial data or risk being locked out of the banking system entirely. Bessent made the remarks last week at a semaphore dinner and the CNBC Invest in America forum. He argued banks must fully know your customer, including legal immigration status, and declared that undocumented immigrants don't have a right to be in the banking system. Reports indicate the order would accept passports as the primary proof of citizenship, with real IDs and many other common documents that Americans have traditionally used to prove their identity do not qualify. And I want to read this as well. The biometric trap. Every U.S. passport issued since 2007 is a biometric e-passport. It contains an RFID chip that stores your personal data along with a digital facial image, specifically formatted for government facial recognition systems. Although applying only requires a standard photo, that photo becomes permanent biometric data held by the State Department. By tying bank accounts to passport verifications, the executive order transforms their biometric passport into a de facto national ID requirement for financial survival. And de facto just means to bring it to fact. De meaning to, and facto meaning fact, to bring it to existence. And this is something that we will continue to remind you of, because really what Esau is doing, as he's been doing for a while, is graduating the public, or the population in this case, towards the final agenda at large. And we keep telling you about that final agenda. Okay, and we know, and so because we know what Esau is doing, thanks be to Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai for giving us this knowledge and this understanding, which the brunt of all of that is the fearing of the Lord, which out of that comes all wisdom, as well as it's written that the Lord has given us an unction that we know of all things. And the word unction just means to anoint. So we've been anointed to receiving the fear of the Lord. And out of that came all knowledge of his omnipotency, meaning his all power. And we're going to get into that, those things that I've already said already. So this is Ephesians 6 and verse 11. Put on the whole arm of the Most High that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. And I want to look up this word wiles, which the word here is mephodia or mephodia. Mephodia. Let's see if I'm correct here.
Strong's G 3180, methodia.
Oh.
Methodia.
So I was right the first time. Cunning arts, deceit, craft, trickery. Absolutely. So we're very well aware of Esau's craft and deceit and trickeries. Once again, thanks be to Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai for quickening us alive to know him and to know the fearing of him. All right. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. So we're very well aware of the higher ups, the banking elite, these politicians, all in conjunction together, that perform dark arts and that actually do the deeds on the left-hand side to harness power from the left-hand side to do as they will to get whatever it is that they have in mind done or planned way before even our time. Okay? So we have the upper hand. We have the greater advantage simply due to the fact that we know the Lord, which again, the Lord is a omnipotent power and all power being. The power, or also coined as the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whom we can claim, who we can side by. And if we side by this power, guess what? We have the upper hand once again. We know everything. So no matter what the left-hand side is coming with, we can already, by far, we can see it from a greater way distance. Let me say that one instead. All right. So there's nothing to be ignorant of. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of the Most High, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, having done all to stand. Once again, stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Exactly. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith you shall be able to quench all of the fiery darts of the wicked. Exactly. So if we continue on with this truth, we will overcome Satan himself, as well as Yahushua did at his lowest point when he was fasting for 40 days. All right. So we put on Yahushua and we continue to walk with Yahushua. We will yet again overcome Shaitan as a collective, as a body. And the physicality of that would be seen when you experience this one day. Okay, so we're going to overcome the wiles and everything Satan not overthrows, but throws at us. Excuse me. All right. Since we look up the word wiles, which is where you get the word methods from. Okay. So in that, I want to tie this into this. Reads 2 Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. There you go. It goes the term devices again. All right. Now, let's read this. Hence is the reason why. But ye have an unction, 1 John chapter 2 and verse 20. But ye have an unction from the Holy One, and ye know all things. Okay. So we know all things, resulting back to what? Let's read this as well. Sirach 19 and verse 20. The fear of the Lord is all the wisdom. That's why we have the unctioning from the Holy One. All right. And speaking of the Holy One dropped down upon the earth, the Holy Spirit upon us to know all things. And the first thing that the Holy Spirit is going to have us to acknowledge and to experience and to feel is the fear of the Lord, which cometh all wisdom. And then all the wisdom is the performance of the law. And here's the point. And the knowledge of his omnipotency, which the word omni means all and potency means power. Okay. So that's all I need to read from there. I just wanted to see if I could read some more on that. And I've already broke down the word, so we don't really need to go into the etym on that. So this is Hebrews 12 and verse 9. Furthermore, we have had fathers of our flesh, which corrected us, and we gave them reverence, and shall we not rather be in subjection unto the Father of spirits and live? And that's one of the cases of the Lord's omnipotency, is the fact that he controls all the spirits, and all the spirits is, and by all spirits is what I meant to say, his counsel is fulfilled. All right. That's why it is also written that there is no knowledge or counsel against the Most High. So let me see if I could pull that out as well. Right? No counsel. Matter of fact, I'll tell you what we're going to do. Let's take it to the blue letter, shall we? And let's type that exact word in. No counsel. Right. Proverbs 21 and verse 30. There is no wisdom nor understanding, nor counsel against the Lord. So there it is. There's nothing against the Lord. You can't come up against the Lord with knowledge of wickedness, because there is no wisdom in that. All which will lead to is failure with that kind of wisdom and understanding. And that's the only wisdom that Esau possesses. So he thinks with the power of Shaitan that they can do all of this, odious works of wickedness. They can conjure up the power of Shaitan, unlock that power, and overcome the power of whom created him in the first place, showing you how foolish these devils really are. Okay. And just, again, looking at it from a highest perspective, the Most High has got them to bring in this MOTV prophecy. And this is the reason why they're so infatuated or fixated on a one world system, which will be surveillance based, because there's this only one thing that the Lord wants them to do, which according to his counsel will be done. And that, once again, as I'm going to say, they will pretty much bring about, actualize the MOTB prophecy. And when this prophecy comes to pass, as I'm going to keep on saying, GMS is going to be found right, and only but just right. So you can say what you will about us. You can call us names as well as they did in the past, all of these other One West camps especially. But when it's all said and done, which it will be when this thing comes to pass, guess what? Everybody's going to be perplexed. There's going to be a discombobulation on their end, not on ours. All right, so that's all I have to say with this. I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashem Rakah Kwadash, and double honor to the elder apostles of the great millstone that have taught us this truth through the Holy Spirit, and to include the elder bishops on down, and to those that are becoming of such, of that ranking, and to include all of the Yakin, which we ought to believe that we're of the elect towards the 144,000 and the 1/3. And it's your brother Lamont, and I'm out. Shalom.